And now let's head to the second episode of the series. Got a nut. Well, get a nut, but beyond the point. So basically, the main points of the main point of the episodes is number 1, Clyde gets a podcast. Number 2, Clyde gets a podcast, and he's not saying the nicest things. He's acting as a right-wing pundit or a right-wing. Actually, let me not say right-wing. I don't even think that's not. He's actively jumping into the bigoted bag in a way that folks have not seen since Cartman. And as the episode starts, Cartman comes in and everyone is just so upset. Everyone's like, I can't believe he's saying that. And then Cartman thinks he's talking about him. He thinks he's talking about him, but the whole time it was Clyde. Clyde is getting the whole school up in arms over the things that he's saying. And then Cartman's sitting back and he's like, that's my thing. He stole my thing. How did he steal my thing? And the funniest part about Clyde's podcast, right? He's literally saying everything that Cartman has said throughout this whole series, right? And that's kind of what's crazy about it, because of as the episode is going, everyone is completely disregarding Cartman as like, this isn't you don't even say that, like, get out my face, like this, you don't even matter anymore. And watching Cartman flail around, that the fact that nobody is noticing him, wild, right? And as Clyde starts his podcast, right, he's like, well, if y'all don't agree with me, come debate me. He comes on the show. He goes on the show, and everyone's like trying to debate him. Butters comes on. He's talking about, hey, this things that you be saying is not the best. It's not nice. And then Clyde goes out of left field. He asks him, what is a woman? And then Butters is he's thinking, a woman is someone that gives you nice kisses and the little fun things, right? And then he comes back with like this scripted response, right? He comes back in with this is the most ideological scripted response that seems definitely copied and pasted over and over and over and over again, right? And he's like, and you. After the conversation, not even the conversation, I think it's like 3-4. I think it's 3 lines. Yeah, I think it's 3 lines. It's what's his face? Butters talks. He talks. Butters trying to respond. He can't really respond, and then he talks again. And then there's a picture that goes in. You've been owned, basically, and that is I find it fun because of. I actually got a chance to like live through the whole debate area, the whole debate era on YouTube specifically, and it'd be some of the most layup line conversations ever, right? One, you find the most uninformed individuals you can. There's a whole point where Charlie Kirk, that's like the main person they're making fun of it on this episode, right? Where Charlie Kirk would invite actively only inviting college students, right? And not even, and the part that pisses me off the most when I was used to watch that shit, the part that upset me the most, it would be freshmen. It would be like starting off freshmen, right? And they would go and try and like debate them. But the conversation would be so bottomed out and so just inconsistent. That's the best way I can put it. Just an inconsistent conversation. And then he'll say his points, and then he would have his people boo this lady and be like, see, well, you can't answer this absolutely simple question. And that's kind of the way that that's kind of the way that he's been like actively trying to like frame conversations like that, where it's like, well, if you can't answer this little thing, how can we take anything else you're saying seriously? But it's like, one, it's not an easy thing to explain. And that's kind of the emphasis of trying to remove education and trying to actively. One of the talking points that I've always hated, especially the more that I talk on the internet, I've always hated the sentence of "it's not that deep," because I feel like it simplifies the existence of people but not just people. It simplifies the purpose of a conversation. People are not gaining as much as they used to when you are trying to actually conversate to learn instead of conversating to just response. And it gets to the point where nobody's actually talking about anything. It's, I have this strict guidelines of things that I need, these strict guidelines of bullet pointed things that I have to say. Once I get through these things, it's checkmate. I win. I just need to win. I need to make you look as stupid as possible. It will go viral. Everyone will share it because if there's such a small snippet of the conversation that's being given out. And then as you were watching it, you start to realize, so you're telling me you talked with 12 people this day, right? And all of them had bad takes. They all had very limited expressions of what they could explain or limited point of view of what they could actually give another individual in a conversation. Oh, you're cutting out the good ones. Oh, you're cutting out the ones where you lose. Okay, I see. So you're literally just leaving in the best tidbits that is able to go viral to explain what you are trying to push. Gotcha. Okay. Oh, but back to South Park. As the episode goes, Clyde, as the episode is continuing, Clyde goes to the principal's office. And when he's in the principal's office, therapist, counselor Mackey. He's like, hey man, I can't do a good. Okay. So Counselor Mackey's talking with him. And he's like, hey, why are you saying all these mean things? And then Clyde responds with, well, life is expensive right now, especially as a young child. I have to pay for Netflix and DoorDash and Grubhub and video games. It's running me about $50 to $100 every month. And if I get online, say some outlandish things, I might be able to feed myself. I'll be able to, quote unquote, get my nut. I'll be able to set myself aside to be able to have all the things I need. And then Principal Mackey's like, well, how important is that? Will that truly make you fulfilled? Will you really be able to grasp the happiness that you are searching for with this quote unquote nut? And then he gets fired. He gets fired bad. They can him. They're like, yeah, we do not have any more money in the budget to be able to hire you or at least keep you on board. I'm sorry. Yeah, you gotta go. Your last check is out front. Go ahead and grab it. And Principal Mackey's like, well, what am I gonna do about my nut? Well, the first thing that he tries to do, he's like, okay, I need to get a hold of how much money I'm spending because I can't be throwing out money and I got no job. I can't be broke. This is not the type of environment for me to be broke, right? He goes to the bank and they're like, yeah, after putting all your money in and this and you got to get this in your house and on and on, your nut's about $6,000. And then Counselor Mackey's like, well, what am I supposed to do with that? That's okay. Well, I need to find a job. So he's looking for a job. Yeah, there's no jobs, buddy. I'm so sorry. There's no jobs. He's looking around. He's stuck. He sees an ad. What's that ad for? ICE. Come be an ICE agent. We'll start you at 100 bands. 100 bands. He starts becoming an ICE agent, and they're running amok. They're literally grabbing. They're going anywhere. The first place they go, the Dora concert. They start rounding people up. They're like, I'm sorry. We're trying to protect the country. We got to do what we can. The next clip, this one guy's like, well, I think these Mexican people, this Hispanic people are so nice. They're good people. I bet the Hispanics are even in heaven. They shouldn't be treated like this. Cut the next clip. They're in heaven. Oh my God. You literally see them detaining individuals in heaven. What are the lengths that they will not go? Oh, so they're grabbing folks. It gets honestly, it's definitely a wild scene to watch. I will say that is a very wild scene to watch. And as you're watching it, you're like, huh? Are we just wasting money? Because two things are happening right now. One, we're paying all this money towards people that honestly their job isn't a waste. Me personally, yes, but that's a whole other conversation. and then you turn to the people that actually they are employing. There's this clip, right? There's this clip of everybody. There's in the ad, one of the main points that they're giving out to the people is like, hey, anybody, and I mean anybody, will hire them all. If you fat, if you, I think the one guy, in the ad, they're like, hey, the main thing I want you to know, we are hiring everybody. If you are old, we'll hire you. If you are fat, we'll hire you. If you are stupid, come along, we got a job for you. So not only are they paying these unqualified individuals all this bread to be able to honestly, not only are you paying these people to unofficially detain individuals that may or may not be undocumented and things of that nature, but we're also actively making it a worse place for people that are actually just trying to like live their life, which is part of the social meta conversations that I do love from South Park. And you know, I want to take a couple steps back. There was earlier in the episode, they're talking about trying to get a nut, and is it all worth it? Is living in the capitalist worldview, will it actually make you happy? Will you actually get the things that you need? And what are those things worth? Truly, that seems like the overarching conversation of the Clyde and Counselor Mackey's relationship, or the chronological storyline that's being intertwined at the moment, right? And as I'm watching, right, I'm thinking to myself, is it actually not just is it worth it? Is it worth it to get invested into what is happening? I want to talk about the Clyde aspect of this conversation before I go towards Counselor Mackey. So with Clyde, you start to recognize he does not care. He's literally just trying to get his nuts, right? He doesn't care who he has to offend. He doesn't care what he has to say. But as long as he keeps saying it, he will keep getting paid. Because guess what? He also gets ads. He is getting compensated to say the things that he is saying, right? And now let's flip it to Cartman, right? Because of he's like, you know what? I cannot let everybody continue to make money off my shtick. Y'all are not me. I am the starter pack. Y'all are the weirdos, right? So Cartman's like, you know what? He starts his own podcast. He literally is like, hey, you will start debating me now. I'm going to use the Bible. I'm going to use rhyming terms, and I will make sure I talk louder than the individual that I am quote unquote debating with. So in the Cartman storyline of this episode, he plays the perpetual Charlie Kirk of it all. Like he dresses up like him, the whole same stature, the same look. It was funny. And then as the episode goes on for Cartman, he gets into the master debating club. He is learning to perfect his master debating skills. He's master debating to college. And that's the thing I like about South Park. The little bits that's very just objectively childish. That's the parts that I do like about this show, right? But Cartman gets to this conversation with his mom, right? His mom knocks on the door because it's like, hey, what are you doing? And then Cartman tells her, he's like, I'm master debating to college girls, to young college girls. And then his mom is like, what? First of all, that is so inappropriate. Why are you telling me? So one of the bits, he's like, yeah, I do it 3 to 4 times a day. Fast forward, he goes to a competition. He goes to an award show. Yes, the young master debaters, right? And one thing I do want to mention, I love the fact that his mom has been changing throughout these seasons to prepare myself for these episodes. I wanted to have a little framework of stuff that's going around so I can understand what these characters really are like, right? And one of the main ones is his mom has been such a pushover, one of the biggest pushovers in cartoon history. I will say that now. Because I remember the episode of the vaccine where they're trying to vaccinate Cartman, and his mom is just not. She was going for that at first, but then she just like folds on it. She just folds, right? But that's like a common trait in her character as the seasons go on. And his mom is just sick of it now. He's honestly just she's tired of his yelling, of his babying, all of it, right? So as the episode keeps going on, you get to see principal. I keep calling him principal. It would be a good episode if it was a principal, but beyond the point. Let's go back to Counselor Mackey, right? He's trying to figure out what it's all worth, and it gets to the point where he gets a raise, he gets a promotion. You're like, hey, we want you to go to Mar-a-Lago. You go hang out with Trump for a little bit. We want to promote you as the head of Homeland Security. First of all, I don't know too much, but I think it's the director of Homeland Security. She made I'm forgetting what the story was, but from what I remember, the director of the Homeland Security, the one lady that they keep showing, like the face of it, right? In her memoir or autobiography or something of that nature, she was talking about how she shot her dog or something of that nature, and it sounded weird because of the way that it's framed. It seems like they wanted us, the reader, to be on her side about it, but it seems like just shot him out of cold blood. But hey, I could be misremembering. But yeah, throughout the episode, she's just continuously shooting all the dogs that she can, and it never stops being funny in my opinion. But hey, back to the episode. But yeah, as you actually get to Mar-a-Lago, right, it gets really freaky really fast. So they introduce Trump brings him to the bedroom. Well, at first he didn't know it was a bedroom, but it turns out to be the bedroom. He brings him to the bedroom, and it's Trump and the devil, and they just booty buck, just getting ready to do the thing. And then Counselor Mackey is like, what in the island of sin are we doing? So the episode keeps going, and he's just like freaking out, saying, you know what, this might just not be for me. He makes a couple steps back, starts running around, he's trying to figure out a way out of here. And then every single door he gets into is freakier than the last. It's just freaky. It's freaky. And then eventually he goes and runs into a room with Clyde. And he's talking with Clyde. And Clyde seems definitely demoralized. He feels he looks tired. He looks I don't want to say he looks a little used, but definitely does not look as positive as he once was. And that's honestly a very interesting. That's a very interesting detail that they've been adding throughout this episode, because one of the main things is it feels like it is rotting his soul to say the things that he's saying. It is actively alienating him from everybody and everything that he actually holds dear. And as he's having the conversation with Counselor Mackey, he doesn't know it's Mackey, right? And he's sitting back and he's wondering to himself, what am I supposed to do now? And then Counselor Mackey, as the good counselor he is, he's talking to him. He's like, hey, maybe it's not worth it to get a nut if you will lose everything. And the main reason why he's bringing that up, he's like, well, with all the extra money that you will get from doing this, all that's going to happen is your nut will grow. And your nut will just keep growing bigger and bigger, and you'll just become smaller and smaller. And that seems like the existential conversation that's being had, when, especially in the context of the greed that comes from making money off of like social media. Because of one of the things that you notice, it feels like everything is not just fake, but it's geared towards you to be rage baited into actively contributing to the said conversation that really shouldn't be had. And it's honestly doesn't feel real when you take a couple steps back. And that seems to be like the main purpose of some of these individuals, where they're actively manufacturing that rage bait for you to continue to be engaging with these conversations. And it feels weird when you're watching in real time. Like even when I'm on TikTok, for example, there's a couple curators that every like once a month they go viral again for saying something heinous, or they're actively saying a slur or things of that nature. But it feels like that was their whole plan, because if they do this crazy thing and then everybody collectively be like, oh no, let's condemn. But all that happened is it made their channel grow. It made this creator grow. They're able to reach new parts of the world and the internet that they were not able to until you went and platformed them. And that's what it feels like when people are actively engaging. And they're actively engaging, right, in a lot of political discourse. That's why it seems so kind of dystopian, because of it feels like the purpose was not to actually relay any information, or it wasn't to actually, it was never to set up an actual debate. That seems like what the main topic of it is. It was always just to insert itself inside your own fan base, so everybody that you mess with will continuously share out those ideologies and push it farther and farther.